Welcome to Cuckoo English Podcast for daily English practice. Hey, have you ever heard that someone your age got a promotion or a new job and suddenly felt a little uneasy?
You're happy for them, but you start questioning yourself. And suddenly, your achievements don't feel like achievements anymore.
That quiet comparison is what we're talking about in today's episode. So welcome to the Cuckoo English Podcast. I'm Sophia.
And I'm Jeremy. Today we're talking about something we all do, something that silently affects almost everyone.
Comparing yourself to others.
We'll talk about why we do it, why it hurts so much, and most importantly,
How to stop comparing ourselves to others. So let's begin.
hey Sophia, how are you today?
I'm good, but something strange happened today.
What happened?
A friend called to share some good news. She just bought her own house.
That's great news.
It is. I was genuinely happy for her. But later, I noticed that I had started comparing my life to hers.
Yeah, that quiet comparison shows up without warning.
Exactly. And it's something we all do at times, and it affects us more than we realize.
Sophia, let's start with a simple question. Why do we compare ourselves at all?
Because we're human. Comparison is almost automatic. We don't even decide to do it, it just happens.
True. Our brain loves comparison. It's how we understand the world. Big and small, fast and slow, better and worse.
When we were kids, comparison actually helped us grow. We watched others and learned from them. Oh, she runs faster than me.
Or he speaks clearly.
Or they solved the problem quicker.
And the thought wasn't negative back then. It wasn't, I'm useless. It was more like, okay, I can get better just like the others.
Exactly. Comparison used to be about learning, not judging. It showed us possibilities.
But somewhere along the way,
It changed.
it turned into self-judgment.
Yes, now comparison isn't healthy anymore. It's harsh. It's not, what can I learn from them? It's, why am I not there yet?
And that shift is dangerous because the moment comparison becomes personal, it stops motivating us.
Instead, it starts draining us. We don't feel inspired, we feel smaller.
And social media adds fuel to the fire.
Because we're not comparing real lives anymore.
We're comparing our behind the scenes with someone else's highlight reel.
Their best angles, their biggest achievements, their happiest moments, carefully edited.
Meanwhile, we're comparing that to our messy mornings, unfinished goals, and self-doubt.
No wonder it feels unfair.
It's like comparing your first draft to someone else's final version.
Or comparing your real life to a movie trailer. Of course the trailer looks amazing.
And let's be honest, nobody posts, "Today I overthought everything and did nothing." Well, almost nobody.
The problem isn't comparison itself. The problem is what we do with it.
Yes, and if comparison leads to awareness, it can help. But if it leads to shame, it hurts.
And shame is heavy. It makes people feel stuck instead of supported.
That's when people stop trying. They don't fail, they quit mentally.
What we forget is that everyone has a different timeline, different resources, different struggles we can't see.
Someone else's success doesn't mean you're late. It just means you're on a different path.
And growth isn't a race. It's not about who reaches first.
It's about whether you're moving, even slowly.
So maybe the goal isn't to stop comparing completely.
Maybe the goal is to compare with kindness.
To say, they inspire me, instead of, they prove I'm not enough.
And to remember you're seeing one moment of their life, not the full story.
Before we move on, let's ask our learners one simple question. When you compare yourself to others, does it push you forward or does it pull you down?
Think about that because your answer says a lot about how you talk to yourself.
Let's talk about what comparison actually does to us, because comparison doesn't arrive loudly. It sneaks in during normal moments, when you're scrolling, when you hear someone else's news, when you're already a little tired.
Yeah, and the first thing it quietly destroys is confidence. That's what people don't realize. You could be doing okay, not perfect, but genuinely improving. Maybe you're more consistent than last year. Maybe you're trying, even on hard days.
Exactly, and that progress matters until comparison enters the room. Then suddenly your effort feels tiny. You start thinking, why am I even proud of this? Even small wins stop feeling like wins.
I've noticed that too. One comparison is enough to erase weeks of effort in your mind. You forget how far you've come because your focus jumps straight to how far someone else is.
And that's unfair to yourself. Confidence grows slowly, layer by layer. Comparison doesn't just slow that growth, it wipes it out in seconds.
The second thing comparison does is create pressure that you never actually needed. You start rushing your life without realizing it.
Right. You stop asking what pace works for me and start asking, why am I not there yet? You want results faster than your reality allows, faster than your time, your energy, your responsibilities.
And that pressure feels productive at first. It feels like motivation.
But it isn't. It's stress in disguise. You push harder, sleep less, overthink more, and then you feel tired all the time.
And the worst part is you start blaming yourself for that exhaustion, as if being human is a personal failure. That constant pressure makes life feel like a race you're always losing.
Which brings us to the third effect. Comparison steals joy, not suddenly, but slowly.
You stop enjoying your own journey. Even good moments feel incomplete.
You achieve something you once hoped for, and instead of celebrating, your brain immediately looks for someone who's doing better.
There's always someone ahead, someone earning more, growing faster, reaching milestones earlier.
So your joy keeps getting postponed. I'll be happy when I reach the next level, but the next level never feels enough.
And life becomes a checklist instead of an experience. Now, there's another piece to this that we really need to talk about, comparing different starting points.
This is where comparison becomes completely unfair.
People forget that everyone starts from a different place, not just emotionally, but practically.
Different families, different financial support, different education systems.
Different opportunities, and different struggles that don't show up on social media.
Some people start with encouragement, others start with survival.
Some are taught confidence early, others spend years just learning not to be afraid.
So when we compare two lives, we're often ignoring the road each person is on.
It's like comparing someone running on a smooth road with someone climbing a mountain.
Same effort, same determination, completely different conditions.
But we don't think about that.
Instead, we blame ourselves. We call ourselves lazy, slow, or behind.
When in reality, we might be doing something much harder, quietly, without shortcuts.
And that doesn't make your journey weaker.
It makes it real. Before we move on, let's ask our learners one simple question.
When you compare yourself to others, do you think about where you started?
Because understanding your starting point changes everything.
Please tell us in the comments.
Now, let's talk about the next important, and probably the most relatable, part for our learners, comparison in learning English. Because this is where a lot of people quietly lose confidence.
Oh, yes, this happens all the time. I hear learners say things like, I started learning English 2 months ago, but my friends are already fluent. And the moment they say that, I can hear the disappointment in their voice.
Yeah. And that comparison feels very personal because language learning is personal. You're using your voice, your thoughts, your identity. So when you feel behind, it hurts more.
What people don't see is the full picture behind that fluent person. They're only seeing the result, not the journey.
Exactly. That person might have studied English in school for years. Even if they say, oh, I wasn't serious back then, the exposure still matters.
Or they might speak a language that's similar to English. That alone gives them a big advantage. Pronunciation, sentence structure, even vocabulary.
They might also be practicing every single day, watching English videos, listening to podcasts, thinking in English for hours.
while someone else is learning English alongside work, family responsibilities, stress, and limited time.
So when you compare those two learners, you're not comparing effort, you're comparing circumstances.
And that's where learners become unfair to themselves. They assume they're good because they're smart, and I'm slow because I'm bad at English.
Which isn't true at all.
Learning a language isn't about intelligence, it's about exposure, time, practice, and patience.
And even if someone really is better than you right now,
Does that mean you're failing?
no, not even close.
It simply means you're still learning at your pace, with your background, in your situation.
And pace matters because language learning isn't a race, it's a process.
Some people speak early but make many mistakes later. Others stay quiet longer but build strong foundations.
Both paths are valid.
The danger of comparison is that it makes learners rush. They want to speak perfectly before they're ready.
Or worse, they stop trying because they think, I'll never sound like them.
But the goal was never to sound like someone else.
The goal was to communicate, to express yourself, to grow step by step.
Every sentence you understand, every word you remember, every small improvement, that counts.
Even if no one else notices it.
Especially if no one else notices it.
So if you're listening right now and comparing your English to someone else's,
Take a breath. Look at your own progress.
because learning English slowly doesn't mean you're bad at it.
It means you're human. Hey, Jeremy. Now let's slow things down and talk about some practical steps on how to stop comparison. Not advice that sounds nice on paper, but steps that actually help when you find yourself comparing. Because comparison doesn't disappear just because we understand it intellectually. Even when you know better, it still shows up.
Absolutely. And that's why the first step isn't stop comparing. That never works. For me, the real shift started with awareness. I used to compare without even realizing it. I'd just feel low, restless, irritated, and I wouldn't know why.
Same here. For a long time, I thought my bad moods came from stress or lack of motivation. But once I paid attention, I noticed a pattern. I'd scroll, I'd listen to someone else's success story, or I'd hear about someone moving faster, and suddenly my energy would drop.
And earlier, my reaction was to judge myself. I'd think, why am I like this? Why can't I just be confident? That self-judgment made everything worse.
Exactly. So now, when it happens, I pause. I don't fight the thought. I don't tell myself to be positive. I just say, okay, I'm comparing again. That's it.
That sentence creates space. You step out of the emotion for a moment and look at it instead of drowning in it. And once you notice comparison, it loses some of its power.
The next thing that helped me was changing the questions I asked myself. Earlier, my automatic question was always, why are they better than me? And honestly, that question never gave me a useful answer.
Same. It only led to overthinking. I remember comparing myself to someone who was growing faster than me. I spent weeks feeling frustrated, but I didn't improve at all during that time.
When I finally switched the question to, what can I learn from them, something changed. The comparison didn't disappear, but it softened. I realized, oh, they're consistent. They show up even when it's boring. That was the lesson, not their results.
That shift turns comparison into curiosity, and curiosity doesn't attack your self-worth. It gives you information without the shame.
Another important step for me was changing who I compare myself to. For years, I was always looking sideways at people my age, in my field, at the same stage of life.
Yeah, and sideways comparison is brutal. Learners, do you know the meaning of sideways comparison? It means comparing yourself to people around you who are at a similar stage, age, or level as you, instead of comparing yourself to your past self or future self.
So I started looking backwards instead, 6 months ago, 1 year ago. And when I did that honestly, I realized I wasn't the same person.
I had the same experience. There are things that feel normal to me now that once felt impossible. I forget that sometimes.
And the growth wasn't dramatic. I didn't suddenly become fearless or super confident, but I react differently now. I don't panic as easily. I don't give up as quickly. That matters.
Growth isn't always visible. Sometimes it's emotional. Sometimes it's mental. And you miss it if you're always measuring yourself against others.
Let's talk about social media for a moment, because that's where comparison loves to live. I used to think the solution was extreme. Delete everything, disappear, avoid people.
I tried that once. Turns out I just compared myself to people in real life instead.
Exactly. So now I do something more realistic. I'm intentional. I pay attention to how content makes me feel. If something consistently makes me feel small, rushed, or anxious, I step away from it for a while.
Not forever, just enough to breathe. That's not weakness, that's awareness.
And honestly, the biggest shift came when I stopped using someone else's definition of success. I realized I was chasing goals I never consciously chose.
That hit me hard, too. I thought success meant speed, visibility, and constant achievement, but that definition exhausted me.
When I finally asked myself, what does a good life look like for me? The answer was surprisingly simple. Peace, steady growth, space to learn without pressure.
For me, it was sustainability. I didn't want a fast life I couldn't maintain. Once I accepted that, comparison lost a lot of its power.
Because when your goals are truly yours, someone else's progress doesn't threaten you anymore.
It just becomes their story, not a judgment on yours.
Comparison doesn't disappear after this. It still shows up.
But now, when it doesn't control us.
And that makes all the difference.
You know, Sophia, there's a truth that most people don't hear often enough, especially when they're stuck in comparison. No matter what you do in life, no matter how hard you work, there will always be someone ahead of you.
And at the same time, there will always be someone behind you. That part is important too, because we usually forget it. We focus only on who is faster, further, or more successful, never on the full picture.
This cycle never really ends. You reach one goal, and suddenly there's another level, another standard, another person doing better.
So if you're waiting for a moment where comparison disappears completely, that moment may never come.
Which brings us to the real question. Not where do I stand compared to others, but something much simpler and much kinder.
Are you moving forward?
Not perfectly, not quickly, just forward.
Even if it's slow, even if some days it doesn't feel impressive.
Because movement matters more than speed.
Progress doesn't always look exciting. Sometimes it looks like showing up again when you're tired. Sometimes it looks like understanding one more sentence than yesterday.
And that kind of progress is easy to ignore when you're busy comparing.
But it's real, and it counts.
If you are listening right now and thinking, I should be further by now, pause for a moment.
Ask yourself, further compared to whom?
Compared to someone with a different life, different time, different opportunities?
Or compared to an imaginary timeline that no one ever clearly explained?
The idea that everyone must reach the same milestones at the same age, in the same order, is one of the most exhausting beliefs we carry.
Life doesn't work like a checklist. It's not a straight line.
Some people move fast early and slow down later.
Some people move slowly at first and find their rhythm later.
Neither path is wrong. They're just different.
And when you understand that, comparison starts to lose its grip.
Because you stop measuring your life using someone else's ruler.
So if you're learning English, building a skill, or trying to improve yourself in any way,
and you feel stuck, behind, or discouraged,
remember this. Your journey is not late.
It's not broken.
It's not wrong.
It's simply yours.
And your job isn't to rush it.
Your job is to stay with it.
To keep showing up, even when progress feels invisible.
To trust that small steps, taken consistently, lead somewhere meaningful.
Because they always do.
You don't need to prove anything to anyone.
You don't need to catch up to an imaginary version of success.
You only need to keep moving in a direction that feels honest to you.
And if today all you managed was listening, reflecting, or understanding one idea a little more clearly,
That's still movement.
That's still growth.
That's still enough for today. So this brings us to the end of today's episode. Thank you for spending this time with us.
If you enjoyed this episode and like learning English through real, thoughtful conversations,
Conversations that don't rush you or talk down to you.
then stay connected with us.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
We'll see you in the next episode.
Until then, keep going at your own pace.
Bye for now.